Nicolas Cage is one of the most distinctive, divisive, and interesting performers working in movies today, and he has lent his unique charm and presence to several comic book movies over the years. From starring in comedic cartoons to playing dark, brutal anti-heroes, Cage has avoided becoming typecast or relegated to only a niche. He is also now set to portray Spider-Man in a new live-action project. As such, looking at his prior comic book movies roles can hopefully gain insight into what is ahead. A member of the esteemed Coppola family, the 60-year-old actor changed his name to differentiate himself from his family. With a name like Cage, the actor's trajectory seemed toward action movies. While that has certainly been a part of his extensive resume, it can be argued that Cage has one of Hollywood's most diverse bodies of work, featuring in Marvel's release calendar, the DCU timeline, and much more. As such, it's exciting to see the culmination of his superhero films in the big-budget noir Spider-Man series, as no one is better than Cage to carry such an interesting premise. A huge range of comic book characters were considered for films during the first major wave of Marvel adaptations that began with Spider-Man and X-Men. As the formula to best portray these characters was being figured out, many of these films suffered from low quality and a poor understanding of what it was about them that worked. Following in the footsteps of features like Hulk and Elektra, Ghost Rider, starring Nicolas Cage as the possessed bike rider Johnny Blaze, was released to poor reviews, though it was successful enough to garner a sequel. As a performer who can tap into intense personalities, the idea of Nicolas Cage as the demon-possessed superhero with a flaming skull for a head made sense on paper. But the film's strange tone and poor dialogue did little to satisfy audiences, with much criticism given to the uncomfortable balance between violent darkness and corny humor. While Cage did not give a bad performance, this film was simply from a time when all the wrong pieces were slapped together, creating a disappointing film. Nicolas Cage lent his voice to the computer-animated adaptation of the first manga series that would popularize anime in the West. Considering the character's initial impact, this 2009 film was not an enormous hit, although Cage brought some prestige and quality to the animated feature. Cage voiced Astro Boy's creator, who rebuilt his son following an accidental death. Here, Cage plays a character defined by devotion, pathos, and conflict, all in ways that speak to the actor's strengths. This complex characterization of a man so driven to science through the pain of his loss allows Cage to display some of his strengths as an actor in this film. When his character's emotions push him so far that he disowns the robot that has replaced his son, the oscillating emotions of the performer come through in his voice. As perhaps the most complex character in Astro Boy, Cage finds a way to shine despite the limited size of his role.